Welcome back, H-Town, welcome back. On today's show, we will be discussing, can the Houston Texans actually have a tougher time winning the AFC South than everybody has predicted?
Bullshit.
Also, we're going to chop up which team in the AFC South had a better offseason, who brought in better offseason additions, whether via the draft or NFL free agency.
We've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal a show.
And last but not least, which team out of the AFC South has the better path to the Super Bowl? H-Town, get your listening ears ready, strap up your boots, and let's go.
Hey, Houston fans, I am so happy.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1.
Are you ready? I was born for this. Look, every Sunday, whenever we play, I get that text. Are you ready?
Texas!
The pitch. And Altuve hits it in the air pretty deep to left. Carter is back at the wall, leaves, and it is gone! It's gone! How do you like that?
One game at a time.
Green still with it. Gets it back. Lets it fly. And got it!
Win on two, 1-2.
Welcome back, H-Town, welcome back. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to spend a few minutes here on Everything H-Town Sports Debate Show. I'm your dreadhead host, Hot Topic TB, and like always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that notification bell so you can get the latest flames that your boy drop about your Houston Rockets, your Houston Texans, and very rarely, but on some occasions, your Houston Astros. But on to the first topic at hand. Are the Houston Texans actually in a tougher division than people expect? Is the AFC South actually going to be harder for the Houston Texans to win than everyone is predicting? And I believe it will be. And here are my reasons, and here's my reasoning. The AFC South last year, it was closer than everyone expected, than anyone expected. We had three teams by the end of the season pretty much had the same record. Jacksonville squandered the division win because the division was theirs. Down the stretch, we had Texans at 9-8, the Colts at 9-8, Jacksonville at 9-8. Jacksonville had an opportunity to actually end it and win this division. Then it came down to the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts in week 18, for all the marbles to get to the playoffs. Jacksonville pretty much squandered their division win. They took off fast in the beginning of the season. They went to London and balled out, came back from London, balled out, and then all of a sudden at the end of the season, they just kind of trickled out. I mean, the Flames just burned out. I don't know, was it the trips to London and then the schedule that they had at the end of the season being they was the season before that division winners, but it came down to week 18 against the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. Head coach DeMeco Ryans and head coach Shane Steichen, both first-time head coaches, both interviewed with the Houston Texans. It's so many similarities, it's crazy. They should be twins. But the Colts were closer to beating the Houston Texans than everyone is trying to portray or whatever. The Houston Texans is my team. I'm a rider, but I'm always going to be a realist, and I'm going to look at things like in a real perspective. I'm going to break it down in a more analytical. I'm not going to say I'm a film guy 24/7, anything like that, but I am going to be straightforward. I am going to break it down in the most analytical possibilities or possible ways that I know how. And I'm not going to say I'm a super expert, but I pretty much pay attention. I skim through film. I do what I can to try to bring you guys some real information. But like I said, the Colts were a drop halfback pass away from actually going to the playoffs. And then the Houston Texans would have still had a great season. It would have still been considered a good season. Head coach DeMeco Ryans would have turned us into a winning season. It would have still been a winning season. It was a good season. So I would have enjoyed it either way it went. But DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans fared well by the Indianapolis coach, running back, dropping the ball, by Shane Steichen not running the ball with Jonathan Taylor and just keep on running the ball down our throats like they've done all season long, because we could not stop the coach for some odd reason. When they ran the ball, Jonathan Taylor just ate us alive. So, and that's probably what DeMeco Ryans was looking at during this offseason with some of the guys that he brought in. But like I said, also the Tennessee Titans, they made major upgrades. They brought in head coach Brian Callahan. That guy has a ton of NFL experience. I believe about 14 seasons in the NFL. His last stint was offensive coordinator at the Cincinnati Bengals. He's the coach. He coached players like Peyton Manning, Joey Burrow. Let me look. Let me see. I got it written down. I got it in my notes. I mean, he has coached Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr, tons of quarterbacks he's coached. This guy is probably the right guy since the Titans have chosen to go with Will Levis and a young quarterback to see. Will Levis showed some good things. I'm not going to say the guy didn't show good things. I don't know what he's going to be. I don't believe he's going to be the cream of the crop like C.J. Stroud, but he could be a serviceable quarterback, and a lot of teams have went to the Super Bowl with serviceable quarterbacks if they put the right pieces around them. So like I said, man, bringing in a new head coach, bringing in more offensive weapons at the Tennessee Titans to go along with the DeAndre Hopkins. They brought in the Tyler Boyd, and then they brought in, what's the receiver? I'm drawing a blank.
What's 9 plus 10?
21.
You stupid.
The receiver that came from Jacksonville, but I can't think about it. Excuse me right now. But they brought in him as well. So they did pretty good in the draft. I think all teams did what they needed to do to fill in a role. They had a good offseason. They traded for Joe Mixon. They brought in a Daniil Hunter. They brought in a Danico Autry. They traded for Stephon Diggs. They brought in major pieces and people that's expected to be major contributors and guys who has been very productive in their NFL careers thus far. So that's why the NFL looks like, the Houston Texans won 10 games last season. They made it to the divisional round. And then they bring in all these pretty pieces and new toys and new pieces that have been productive in the NFL ever since they stepped on the NFL field. So that kind of gave the Houston Texans the opportunity to rise to the top and look like the cream of the crop on paper. But you still have to play the game in between the lines. I believe this AFC South division is going to be actually tougher because, like I stated earlier, if Will Levis is even serviceable, I mean, he have a lot of weapons. And his weapons all have experience. All those guys. Then also the coach, Shane Steichen, in year 2. Jonathan Taylor and Shane Steichen's offense in year 2. You get AR-15 back if he can stay healthy. I don't know. That might be their downfall, and that might they might end up looking crazy if Will Levis turns out to be something and AR-15 stays injured and stays hurt. Then they're going to kind of look crazy because Will Levis was there for the taking. Every team in the NFL passed on Will Levis, and then the Titans double back and got him in the second round. But like I said, this division is ended. It's going to be harder. Like I said, for the reasons Shane Steichen, Jonathan Taylor, year 2, the Tennessee Titans brought in a lot of weapons to add and a lot of receivers to go along with DeAndre Hopkins. Brought in a lot of pieces to help Will Levis try to take that next step. Trevor Lawrence got $275 million. He got $142 million guaranteed when he signed on the dotted line. I mean, he's on during signing and $200 million guaranteed. So he got paid like he's a top quarterback in the NFL, $55 million on average. So Trevor Lawrence is going to have to come in and prove his worth and prove his value. So I do believe he's going to come in and he's going to give it all that he got. Jacksonville, they always going to fight. I mean, I know the Texans have their number, but Jacksonville is going to fight. I like Trevor Lawrence. I'm not saying he's a C.J. Stroud or a top 5 quarterback, but he might be in the top 15 category. The guy can do some good things. He's a serviceable quarterback. The guy can make some things happen with the pieces around him. Travis Etienne, they have plenty of weapons. Josh Allen also got a deal, man. The defensive Josh Allen. So, like I say, this division is going to be tougher. Last season, it went down to the wire, man. 3 teams in this division had 9 wins by the end of the season, and then the Tennessee Titans still finished the season with 6 wins, and they had to switch all over the place with quarterbacks. They had tons of injury, like we did. We finished with 10 wins, and we had plenty of injuries. The offensive line did not mesh at all. We had tons of injuries at the offensive line position. We had Derek Stingley go down for some. So a lot of our major players went down as well, and I believe our season could have possibly been better if we wouldn't have lost to the scrubs of the Panthers, and we wouldn't have lost to the scrubs of the Atlanta Falcons. But like I said, this division is going to be tough for H-Town. So we got to get ready. We're going to have to knuck if we buck, be ready to battle, and be ready to go in this division and win and fight hard. And we're going to have to win, and it's going to be tough to win. It's not going to be easy. Even when these teams are bottom feeders, they battle because it is a division rival. But I believe this division will be tougher. This offseason was an actual exciting offseason. From a Houston Texans fan perspective, I don't know how the Tennessee Titans fans feel. I don't know how the Jacksonville Jaguars fans feel. And I don't know how the Indianapolis Colts fans feel. I'm pretty sure all of those teams are confident because every NFL team goes into the new season 0-0, and everyone thinks they have a chance to win a Super Bowl. But if you're a realist, I believe the Houston Texans upgraded on an already 10-win team, and they got better. A lot of people think we lost because we lost a couple D tackles. We lost a few people, but those guys were serviceable guys. But you brought in a 10-plus every year sack artist in Danielle Hunter to place him alongside Will Anderson Jr. You brought in a lot of bodies at the D tackle position, as well as Danico Autry is going to play and have some time at the D tackle position. And he had 58 pressures, man, and 11 and a half sacks last year. So he's going to play a lot of times at the D tackle position in pass rushing situations. You brought in Azeez Al-Shaair. That's going to be the quarterback of the defense. You brought in a Kamari Lassiter that I believe is going to be a good pickup in round 2 at the cornerback position. He played a lot of football in the SEC against a lot of good wide receivers. So I believe he's going to be serviceable. I believe he's going to be a steal, as well as Kalen Bullock is going to be a steal, and he's going to end up probably taking over by mid-season, the end of the season, being the center field guy at the free safety position. So what the Houston Texans did, even via trades, man, Joe Mixon, like I stated before, Stephon Diggs, the Houston Texans had a hell of an offseason, and I believe, not being just a homer, I believe they had the best offseason in the AFC South, but the Indianapolis Colts signed a lot of their own guys. They had a decent draft as well. I like what the Indianapolis Colts did. Jacksonville brought in some guys, like I stated, the Tyler Boyds, and they brought in the Calvin Ridleys, and they brought in some people too, and they signed some of their own guys as well. And then Jacksonville, like I say, they gave that big bag out there to Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, and they brought in some guys as well. But overall, I think the best offseason was had by the Houston Texans because they brought in star power, guys who have been proven to be productive, guys who have been at the top of their positions in the league for years and years and years. And then they added it to a C.J. Stroud in year 2, who's taking over as the leader, who did everything a top 5 quarterback should do in his rookie season, break down defenses, change, adjust, make adjustments. The guy is a baller. Then you give him a real run game by bringing in a Joe Mixon, man, a 6'1", 225 running back who knows this scheme, just new terminology, but knows the scheme. Like I said, I think the Houston Texans was the winner of the AFC South off season. Last topic of the day, baby. Which one of these teams in the AFC South has the easiest path to the Super Bowl? And I'm going to be a realist. Usually the last place team has a scrub schedule. Usually the last place team is going to have a schedule with a lot of teams that didn't have a winning record or a high win percentage. So the Tennessee Titans should have the easiest schedule, but like they're trying to put the pieces together. New head coach. You have to see what Will Levis is going to do. So even though they have the easiest schedule, I don't believe they have the easiest path because they're trying to figure themselves out. They let Mike Vrabel go, but they're still trying to be in this kind of win now mode, bringing in Brian Callahan. So I'm not too sure what the Titans are doing. I just have to see during the season, but I know the Titans are always going to fight. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they paid Trevor Lawrence. After a while, they're not even going to be able to put a team around Trevor Lawrence. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, they seem to always blow it. So their path, to me, is always just going to blow it. And that leaves the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. I know. Both of those teams have a pretty good schedule. The Texans having the hardest schedule because they was first place winners and they won the division. They're the AFC South champs. So everyone is chasing the Houston Texans. But I think with DeMeco Ryans, I think with the pieces we brought in, I think with having a top 5 quarterback in CJ Stroud, having a elite pass rusher in Danielle Hunter, and a elite young pass rusher who's about to take that next step in year 2, and Will Anderson Jr. And the pieces that you added to this defense to make this defense that more productive, that more fast. You added a Azeez Al-Shaair to a Christian Harris. That is some speed in your linebacker group, and that is that's some pop, man. That's a lot of tackles between those two guys. They can cover as well, so you can have both of those guys on there all the time, nickel, whenever. You don't have to sub those guys out in passing situations because both of the guys are pretty decent in coverage. So like I say, to me, I believe the Colts will probably have the easiest path because the Houston Texans are playing a first place schedule, and the Colts have a schedule that's a little less taxing than the Houston Texans. But they have, like I said, Shane Steichen. They have a roster, and like I say, they was just a halfback drop pass away from being the division winners themselves. So I believe the Indianapolis Colts will have the easiest path to get to at least to the AFC Championship, but they have to go through the Houston Texans. And everyone in this division is chasing the Texans. And I think if CJ Stroud has a MVP season or a similar season to what he had last season, just better at everything, just enhance what he did as a rookie and just make it that much better, the Houston Texans are going to be a hard team to deal with, and they should make it to at least to the AFC Championship. And if we do meet with one of these teams in the divisional round or the playoffs, they're going to have to bring it. It's going to be exciting because these are division rivals and division foes. But Ace Time. I'm your dreadhead host, Hot Topic TV. It's been real chopping it up with you guys. The AFC South is going to be tougher than everyone expected, but it's going to be exciting. That's what real football is made for. To get in December and January and get in October and November and battle down the stretch. But it's been real chopping it up with you guys. And peace.
Texas!
Put some respect on our name.